Christopher Scarver, the man who ended Dahmer. A prison morning that changed history. In 1994, inside Columbia Correctional Institution in Wisconsin, three men were assigned to a work detail, cleaning the prison gym. One was Jeffrey Dahmer, the infamous serial killer who had murdered 17 men and boys. Another was Jesse Anderson, serving time for killing his wife. The third was Christopher Scarver, a man already serving a life sentence for murder. The guards left them unsupervised. It was a decision that would change history. From inmate to executioner, Scarver had been in prison since 1990, after killing his supervisor during a job training program robbery. He was known to be quiet but deeply religious, carrying a Bible everywhere he went. He had watched Dahmer in prison. He had heard the stories. Other inmates said Dahmer mocked them, shaping food into severed limbs, taunting about his crimes. Scarver later said he felt a divine voice guiding him. That morning, he picked up a metal bar from the weight room. Minutes later, Dahmer and Anderson were dead. Scarver walked calmly back to his cell and told guards, "God told me to do it." The courtroom aftermath. Scarver was already serving a life sentence. After the killings, he was given 2 more consecutive life sentences. There was no trial spectacle like Dahmer's, no long appeals, no chance of parole. Scarver was transferred to a maximum security prison in Colorado, where he remains to this day. The system's failure and a strange justice. For many, Dahmer's death felt like a kind of justice the system had failed to deliver. Families of Dahmer's victims had sat through his trial, listened to his confessions, and watched him sentenced to 16 life terms. But prison offered no closure. Scarver's act was brutal, but it ended Dahmer's story in a way the courts never could. Others saw it differently. A man already convicted of murder had been left unsupervised with 2 notorious inmates. It was a failure of prison oversight, a decision that cost 2 lives. Scarver's own story. Scarver has spoken from prison, describing himself as a man guided by visions and voices. He has written poetry, essays, and even filed lawsuits against prison staff for mistreatment. He insists Dahmer's death was not random. It was, in his words, God's work. Legacy and questions. The killings raised uncomfortable questions. Should notorious criminals like Dahmer be protected in prison or left vulnerable? Was Scarver a vigilante delivering justice, or simply another murderer? Did the system fail again, this time by leaving 3 dangerous men alone together? Scarver's name is now forever tied to Dahmer's. Not as a victim, not as a survivor, but as the man who ended one of America's darkest figures. Closing reflection. Christopher Scarver's story is not one of redemption. It is a story of violence meeting violence, of a prison system that failed to protect even its most infamous inmate. But for the families of Dahmer's victims, it was the moment they no longer had to fear his name. Scarver remains behind bars, serving 3 life sentences. Dahmer's crimes remain infamous, and that morning in 1994 stands as a reminder. Sometimes justice comes not from the courts, but from the shadows of the prison walls.